Hey folks, today I'm going to walk us six, mapping it out. But before I do, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about myself. So after I graduated college, I was 20 years old when I graduated college, and I won this internship essentially that paid me to travel to Europe to live in a country called Austria, which is just below Germany, and to live there for a year while I taught English. And this was the town. It's a town called Weidhofen an der Ibs. It's a little river town. You can see this is it. It's pretty small, a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 or so people that live there. A very old town from back in the thousands. It was founded. Beautiful castle in the town, a very beautiful place. But for me, being 20 years old, it was a very lonely place. I was the only person my age there. Anyone who was older than me or around my age was off at college, and colleges there are only in the big cities, so there were no people my age. The younger people were my students, so I couldn't hang out with them, and then there were only much older people. So I was, I'll be honest, I was pretty lonely. This is a picture of myself back then. Look at how young I was. And I spent a lot of time hiking. This is a bench that I hiked to one day. And it's beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful place. Here's some more pictures of hiking. There's a cow. So this was a beautiful place, but it was also that's a that's a vending machine for French fries. It was also a very lonely place, as I said. And when I first arrived, I was going to be staying in a dorm, uh, and I was really excited for that because I was going to be around other people and have other people to talk to. And I got there, and I had just traveled for like 20 hours. I had this huge backpack and a huge suitcase, and my German wasn't very good, and it was very quiet, and it was nighttime, and it was raining. And I got to the dorm, and they told me, "We don't have room for you." And I was terrified. I didn't know who to call. I couldn't talk to my parents because I didn't have a cell phone yet, and it was really scary. And at that moment, that was a defining moment for me where I said, I can either leave this place right now and feel like I have failed and I don't know what to do, or I can figure this out and like make something happen. And I did. I hiked across town to a hotel where I like sat in the corner of the lobby, and I was sneaky and I took their phone and called my house and said, "Mom, I don't know what to do." And I was crying on the phone, to be honest with you. And um, eventually we figured it out. I ended up staying in an apartment which was in a basement of an old building. It was built in I think, the 600s. It used to be a place where they slaughtered cows and made leather. And I'm certain it was haunted. It was terrifying. But that moment was a defining moment for me because I could either say, this is too hard and leave, or I could say, I'm going to fight through it and stay. And I stayed. So that's the story I want to talk about. If I was writing a personal statement, that would be my story. So here's how I'm going to translate that to today's assignment. Lesson 6 is mapping it out. Now that you have your defining moment, it's time to build your story. So my defining moment is that moment where I was sitting on the street crying, it's raining, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to tell the story of that defining moment by following the guide below. Read each step carefully. This is going to help me build a well-developed story. Okay, so step 1 is the glow. The glow is actually the end of the essay, so we're starting at the end. The glow is the last sentence of your story that completes the action, leaves something for the reader to remember, and makes them want to know more about you. So it's going to keep the reader in the action and leave them wanting more. We can look at the snack shack for some inspiration here. So if we look at the end of the snack shack, which is what you read a couple lessons ago, the end of the snack shack ends with, if someone in my dorm needs a double cheeseburger deluxe to get them through the finals, I'll be right there with my spatula. And there's another ending here. After all, I'm a professional. Those leave me, when I look back at what the glow is, those leave me wanting more. Or it actually closes the scene, right? It's a story about all his capabilities. So for me, I'm thinking about the story of myself kind of breaking down and making this decision. So I'm going to end my story with, I put my backpack on, wiped away a final tear, and exited the lobby into a new and uncertain world. That's my glow. So that's how I'm ending the action of this story of me crying and breaking down and going to the hotel lobby. Now, the next is the pivot. The pivot is when I risk something, learn something, grow, or change. So I want to show one key change. So it's like one specific thing that changes. What's different before and after? Where do you take action? So for me, the action was getting back up and finding the hotel. So I want to show the pivot of, at the beginning, I was sitting here so upset and so nervous. And then at the end, I put my backpack on, wiped away that tear, and went out into the world. So where did I pivot? Um, I pivoted when I was when I saw the hotel across the river, and I decided I needed to go there. So I spied the spire of the hotel across the river bridge and wondered if I could access the Wi-Fi or sneakily make a call on their lobby phone. Whoops. Shouldered my massive backpack and hobbled along the cobblestone towards the bridge. So I did it in 2 sentences, but these 2 sentences show me going from being really desperate and being so panicky and nervous to taking action. I'm going to take action. I'm going to go to the hotel and figure it out. Now, the magnet is the first sentence, and it draws the reader into the story. It makes them want to keep reading. So I can either do this by putting them in the action, or I can have them ask, what's next? I can set the scene. So how do I set this scene? My face was wet. I could not tell if it was tears or the rain, but it didn't much matter. I was lost. I was nervous. I was without a home. Oof. I want to keep that. So my face was wet. I could not tell if it was tears or rain, but it didn't much matter. I was lost. I was nervous. I was without a home. The reader's really going to think, okay, what's next for this kid? Like, what is going on in this person's life that this is where they start? So this is kind of the outline for my story. So step 4 is to make a 3-sentence story. I'm going to combine my stories together in this order: magnet, pivot, glow. And it's going to make a 3-sentence story. So I can even just copy and paste it here. There's my magnet, here's my pivot. I'm going to copy that, Control C, Control V. And I'm going to get my glow up here, Control C, Control V. So let's read my 3-sentence story. My face was wet. I could not tell if it was tears or rain, but it didn't much matter. I was lost. I was nervous. I was without a home. I spied the spire of the hotel across the river bridge and wondered if I could access the Wi-Fi or sneakily make a call on the lobby phone. I shouldered my massive backpack and hobbled along the cobblestone towards the bridge. I put my backpack on, wiped away a final tear, and exited the lobby into a new and uncertain world. I think this is great. Now, obviously, this is just the bare bones, right? Because really, 1, 2, 3. Those are the 3 parts of my story. And in the next assignment, we're going to make these more developed. But for now, if you can leave this assignment with your magnet, your pivot, and your glow, you'll be in great shape. So I hope you enjoyed my story. It was a scary time for me, and I'm happy to tell you more about it some other time. Yours does not have to be as dramatic, but I hope you have fun coming up with your 3-sentence story.